All right, Josh, you shared, this is appropriate for somebody who's a magician in his spare time. You shared a watershed moment about kind of your evolution from starting out pretending that people could see your calculations on a waxy chalkboard to where more recently you were climbing into a 6-foot balloon to see how long a person can breathe within the balloon. And by a person, I think that we mean you. Yeah, okay. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, that's a little bit longer story. Yeah, I was thinking about watershed moments in my career that caused me to change direction in the ways that I teach. And I noticed that the few examples I came up with were all embarrassing, really embarrassing stories, ways that I failed dramatically. So one of those, I had been at William & Mary for 6 years. Rite of passage for physics professors is we need to teach general physics. So the first time I taught Physics 101, general physics, this rite of passage, I was also a lucky professor who was the first to teach in the newly renovated, beautiful, small hall when was it? It was 2011. First person in the largest lecture room in the building, small 110. I thought I did my homework. I picked a blackboard on the side. By the way, I'm old-fashioned. I wanted to give a good old-fashioned course, chalk and chalkboard. That's my way. I'm never happier than when I have a piece of chalk and a chalkboard with me. So that was my objective. That was my plan. I thought I'd done my homework. I went to the chalkboard on the side before, a few days before class started. I would write. I went to the back of the room. Can you see it? Can you hear me? It seemed like everything was fine. So it turned out that the 3 layered blackboards that you could pull one on top of the other at the center of the room were brand new. Not the one I was messing with, I was experimenting with. They were brand new. They were covered in a waxy coating, and I brought nothing with me except a piece of chalk. So I get to class, first day of class, I say, welcome class. We introduce ourselves. I always have a few jokes at the beginning of the first class. And I go to start writing, and it was invisible. And I thought, what am I going to do? I have a document camera there. I have no paper or pens. I have a computer. I don't have anything to show them. So I thought, what am I going to do? I'm going to pretend they could see what I'm writing. And I did that. So I went through class. I later found out that I don't have a great teaching voice. I don't have that voice that carries. So I thought students were able to hear me, except that in the back of that room, it's on the first floor, right by the entrance to small hall. And as students are entering and exiting, there's all sorts of background noise. So the students couldn't hear me. They couldn't see what I was writing. It was a miserable start to a really difficult semester. So what did that force me to do? I had to learn how to use modern technology in the classroom, and I did, and it gave me all sorts of wonderful opportunities. The document camera gave me ways of organizing the presentation I hadn't thought about before. Even better, the computer, using it in the room. After all, the screen was down anyway. Might as well use the computer. Able to show the Space Shuttle Atlantis taking off as an example of fluid dynamics, and there's wonderful moments in there that I won't take up time with right now, but you see the shock wave because conditions were just right as it reaches maximum pressure and goes past the speed of sound. Wonderful example. When we were talking about centripetal motion, I found video from India, the sphere of death. The sphere of death. These people on motorcycles climb into a sphere and they go around vertically, sideways, every which way. Maybe 5 of them were inside this big sphere of death, riding around the walls of this cage, a spherical cage, as an example of spherical motion. And there was a lesson there. We got to calculate how fast do they have to be moving at the top so it doesn't actually become its namesake, a sphere of death. Well, okay, so that semester didn't go so well. Second time I teach the class, I thought to myself, well, what else didn't go well? This is a broad survey. This is why this is a rite of passage. This course is a broad survey, and it's going quickly. You get to one topic and you say, angular momentum, the reason this is so exciting and so important for your life is, okay, the next topic is, and you don't get to show the students everything if you if you follow the textbook and you just work through line by line. The students rather complain, the professor just shows us proofs. So what do you mean proofs? That's not language that I use in my classes, but they was showing us proofs. They didn't want to see that. So second round, I thought, what can I do? And this was a dramatic shift in the way I teach, and I've carried this with me. I thought, physics is not always relatable to people. Believe it or not, physics is not always relatable to people. But why? Physics is everywhere. Make it relatable. So I made every class, I dreamt up some demonstration that would either be fun, entertaining, relatable to them. I demonstrated Newton's laws by soldering together a Tesla coil and using sparks in a way that illustrated Newton's laws. Made music with propane in a perforated tube, lit on fire, playing music through it. You see the flames dance. If you play a tone of the right frequency, it makes a nice, beautiful waveform in the flames, and that allows you to calculate the speed of sound in propane. We were able to do that. That was kind of fun. All sorts of things. Some of them were more human and relatable. Some of them were just examples like that were just to pique interest. So that was a lot of fun. So I would say, watershed moment. Yeah, try to make class fun. You mentioned one example. I guess I should elaborate. When we were talking about fluids, you can ask a question. As I'm breathing, all right, I breathe some amount of air with each breath, and when I exhale, there's less oxygen in that exhaled breath than in the breath that I inhaled. So if I was in a big balloon, there are all sorts of things that you can calculate, but one of them, which is pretty straightforward, is how long can I survive in there while breathing inside a big 6-foot balloon? And I should have brought it. I had a book, How to Climb into a 6-Foot Balloon. It's the title of a book. So I figured it out. I blew up a giant balloon with actually, I think I used a leaf blower, and I climbed in. Not previously used leaf blower. It was clean. Anyway, so I climbed in and imagine...
Yes, that was the important detail that we were all stuck on.
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine this physics professor in this giant bubble, basically, talking with a microphone through this bubble, bouncing up and down. It was a lot of fun. And we did the experiment, and I survived. So, the calculation, well, we had a bound anyway. One last thing. So I took this with me in a subsequent class. Again, one of the demonstrations, I was thinking since we're in a museum, I would show you a piece of art. So we were learning about polarization in this class, polarization of light. And so light is electric and magnetic fields oscillating different ways as they come to you. That sounds boring, but different colors correspond to different wavelengths. So it turns out that the way that the light is polarized, going this way or that way, can change if that light passes through certain materials, like cellophane, for example. So I thought to myself, hey, you can use this to make art, because the way the light rotates is different for different colors, for different wavelengths. So I tried to actually use this, I'll show you how in a moment, to make a piece of art representing what did I do? I did the Crimdale Bridge. It was horrible. I'm not going to show you that. It didn't come out well. But then I thought to myself, somebody has to do this as a profession. And I went online and I found there are 2 people I could identify who do this. One of them actually sold some of her work, Austin Camaro, who unfortunately died to cancer a few years ago. But she sold some of her work online, and her family keeps it going. So I brought one piece of this. And I'd like to just show you, because showing this to the class I thought was fantastic. Now, yeah, thank you. So, hello. So this actually works a lot better with the light source behind me. So what this is a sheet of polarized paper, polarizing paper, like your sunglasses, but over certain areas. So there's a sheet of a polarizing lens basically on one side, a little bit in certain areas, and you see color. But the remarkable thing here is, and we'll see if you can actually see this. Thank you. We'll see if you can actually see this. Is that what you were doing?
It was on.
Okay, there you go. Tell me if you can see that. Isn't that really neat? Thank you, Pablo, also.
That's exceptional.
Okay. What a way to learn about polarization of light. And of course, there's math to go with it. And I'll show you that after the show. Thanks, Diana.
That's the kind of support you can expect when you collaborate with STLI.
Thank you. That was my other watershed moment. I forgot to mention learning about STLI and taking advantage of them. Yes. So STLI is amazing in everything they do. Thumbs up.
Yeah.